Alright, so listen, dude. I don't even play DBD like that anymore. I won't even lie. Like, I don't even play this game off stream. But I will tell you, them adding the slugging and the tunneling reduction to the new update to 9.2.0 is gonna be crazy. And I know killers are pissed off, like the killer mains. I know for a fact you guys are pissed off because, believe it or not, survivors, killers have to be able to tunnel and slug to a degree. Like, that's why they have it in the game, right? And I'm all for it when it comes to like optimal gameplay, as far as, you know, stopping gen progression that's going by really quickly. If you guys run improve thyself, you guys with your swift teams, the whole nine, right? I'm all for that, right? Because I don't think that you're trying to intentionally be a dick and just leave somebody on the ground just because they're stunning you with head on all day, right? But then there are killers that are just like, I want to slug out for the 4K. I want to leave you on the ground. And granted, they added, you know, the mechanic when everyone's on the ground, you can abandon the match for free, right? But there are killers that, you know, that they kind of need to be able to, like, you know, get that second push. Like, let's say Oni, right? It take him a while sometimes to get those blood orbs to get his demon dash. There's Billy. They can zoom across the map immediately to get those free downs. But I will tell you this. I am not for slugging at 4K. I am not for slugging at 3K. I mean, I'm sorry, not 3K. I'm sorry, I misspoke. I meant I do not encourage a killer to say, hey, I need to slug at 4 and 5 gens. There's no excuse. There's no excuse as to why. I don't care if the okay, granted, listen. I give you this. If a team can allow you to do that, fine. If the team can allow you to play like that, and they just make the wrong plays, they are ass at looping, or they're just very brand new, and you got a Billy and you can just catch them in 5 seconds. In my opinion, it's like you don't owe the survivors anything. They you take what you want, right? You don't owe them anything. But I'm just glad that they're taking that out of the game so that we just don't feel like it's miserable. But I do want to talk about just you know, tunneling and the slugging, the tunneling reduction update, and a little bit of the stats effect. I'm not gonna go into like the killers that they buff and rework, like Myers, Clown, Ghoul. You know, you can actually go to Reddit and check those out for yourself. But I do just want to talk about this for a little bit. All right, so let's get into it. If survivors live in a dying state for a total of 90 seconds, which I think is like a minute and 30 seconds, during a match, they can gain the ability to pick themselves up after fully recovering. Added the option to enable or disable this mechanic in custom matches, so at least you can try it out for yourself. It definitely won't stop the comp scene from doing what they do. I like that this whole update is only just for like pub players, because there's a lot of casual players. That's just all it is. Like, not everybody wants to be a tryhard. That's all it is, right? And it says gradually increasing. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Let me read this. It says, no, perks that enable you to recover from the dying state, like Boom, Exponential, will continue to function as before without needing to meet this requirement. So you don't have to use like a 1/4 of your perk slot trying to bring Unbreakable or Boom, whatever. You can just pretty much get it by yourself. Gradually increases crawling speed for survivors who are living in a dying state. So it's kind of like built-in tenacity a little bit, right? Maybe a little slower. And it says added the ability for survivors to recover while crawling. Which is like tenacity. Recovering now occurs passively with no need to hold a button. Updated servo survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. So if you go to Reddit, you can actually see, or they might even have it on Twitter, you can actually see the white being knocked down, I think, by an unknown, and then he is just like crawling. But again, this has to happen when conditions are met. I have to be on the ground for a very, very long time for this to start to be a thing. At least that's what they said. This what I think they've said, because it says pick yourself up if you've been in a dying state for 90 seconds. 90 seconds is a long time to not find a hook. It's a long time. And then it says dev note, when it comes to slugging, we know it can be frustrating if you are on the receiving end of it too often or for too long, but we also know that sometimes it is a smart move. This updated system acknowledges this, allowing the killer to slug occasionally when they feel like it's the right call, but will eventually kick in and swing in the survivor's favor if slugging is used excessively. So it's only going to be if you be like, you know what, let me try to slug at like 4 gens, and I'm just going to try to, which I just think if everybody is slugged out at 4 or 5 gens, or the remaining survivors, you can just go next, right? But it's like if you're just like on the ground, you can continue the match at least. And also, let me just say this, right? You gotta think about this too, right? A lot of people play solo queued, and I think they play a four man, right? So you gotta think like there's a lot of people that play in a 2-man or a solo queue, 1 man, whatever, 1 girl, 1 woman, whatever. you always got that survivor that's not going to help you out. If it's just me and another survivor, right, and 2 people are gone and the killer's already got basically the win, right, because he or she killed 2 survivors, so you won't get less than a 2k, right? And the chance of me and another survivor escaping when there's just 2 people left and there's like 3 gens left is highly unlikely. So you know that that last survivor is not going to try to rescue me no matter how long I've been on the ground. So why I've always said this, you win the game at 2k, killers. You win the game at 2k. Put me up, not NBA 2k, but at 2k. Pick me up and put me on a hook, buddy. They just added that abandonment feature not that long ago. So the fact that you had killers using knockout, you had killers abusing it excessively. They said they're only gonna do it when it's excessive. That means it's not like soon as you knock me on the ground because gens of progression, oh, we just automatically get back up. It's if you've been on the ground for a minute and 30 seconds, which is 90 seconds, that's when it can kick in. Okay, it's just that simple. It can kick in. You know that last survivor is going to try to hide for hatch, right? So they're not going to be just trying to sit there and wait till every time you knock me back down and then I'm healing, they just keep picking me up. No, they're going to hide and not help me, right? So that's what makes the game boring. And then you know we can't DC now because it's just going to get a timer. And you also know going next on a hook is a thing of the past now. So we have to suffer through the match. So it says a big part of this is also about making the experience of being slugged more pleasant. As much as being slugged can be, at least the recovery changes in crawling speed will give you a bit more agency, which means control, when down, so you aren't just holding a button and waiting for someone to come and save you. Now, not holding the button is actually pretty nice too. I don't feel like holding it, but I mean, I don't think that was even the problem. The biggest issue was just being slugged out. I also like that you can crawl and help your team, and that can actually hurt killers too, because you know, killers can't see when you're on the ground, your aura. If you don't play killer like that, killers can't see your aura when you're on the ground. So when you're able to crawl away, that's pretty huge. But it just meant that, hey, so the fact you can crawl away and recover at the same time is insane. I will tell you that. Now, this is the tunneling reduction update. When a survivor is hooked, their hook status is hidden from the killer. When they are unhooked, there is no notification and their hook status isn't revealed immediately. So, you know, when if from a certain distance, killers will know where the unhook has happened. Let's say if they hooked you in the basement, they'll see that you got unhooked, which means that can, you know, proxy killer to go right back towards the basement, and we know there's only one way out of the basement, right? There's only one way in, one way out. But it's also just like, yeah, the fact that you won't be able to even see their status revealed immediately is crazy too. It says this disable once all generators are completed. So once the game is pretty much over with or whatever, as far as completing gens, that's when everything kind of go back to normal for killer. It says unhooked survivors gain the following effects for a limited time. So once all that happened, right, they get unhooked. It says we get haste, endurance, and elusive. See below status effects. So that's the thing that they just added in the game. I'm going to talk about that. No collision with other players with both killer and survivor. Immunity to killer instinct and sees the killer's aura nearby. Now I'm wondering, is the killer's instinct is the aura reading? Because I know they said we can see their aura. I'm just curious. And it says these effects are lost when the affected survivor perform a conspicuous action. So it'll work like decisive strike off the record. You know, when you touch, if you like, you can't even look at a general, right? You can't even look at somebody if they're injured. Because if you do, you pretty much touch them. It's like a conspicuous action, and then everything goes back to normal. You are fair game, which is fair. All these effects except haste and endurance are disabled once all generators are completed. So once everything is completed after the match, if you guys are in a situation you can win the game, everything's go back to normal. You are no longer having a haste and endurance effect. Just keep that in mind. It says added a unique effect to the killer hook state UI that indicates the last survivor they hooked. It says after completing a quote-unquote unique hook, which means the same survivor is now hooked consecutively, killers get the following benefits. Bonus damage for the next generator kick, so that's pretty good for killer. Temporary haste status effect, they move a little faster. Temporarily reveal survivors, think base kit, barbecue, and chili, which is pretty huge for them, that have less or equal hook states to the hooked survivor. It says these effects are slightly lessened for the Blight, the Dark Lord, Ghoul, the Billy, and the Nurse, especially the Nurse. Cause I mean, it's how fast you can just come right towards you and be able to see it. You gotta take into account some of these killers' ability, because they can zoom across the map like a Billy and Blight, etc. And also the Dark Lord. Damn. I mean, I was gonna say Oni, but that's only if Oni's in his Demon Dash. They can zoom across the map. But I can see why they had these killers kind of lessen the effects of it. And it says added new effects that disincentivize tunneling. It said if a survivor dies before 6 total hook states, all remaining survivors gain a repair speed bonus for the rest of the trial, which is crazy because I used to always think to myself, it has nothing to do with camping, but I was thinking, what if they made a status effect for survivor, which would have been very good in my opinion. If killer, I've never heard anybody say this, but what if you were camping a survivor and you didn't want to leave the hook, you gave a repair speed bonus to survivors per gen. That would incentivize the killer to leave, right, the hook, and punish the killer for staying at the hook survivor if you just gave him repair speed. That means you would chase survivors off the hook. Some killers just want to get an easy kill, but I just think if you go against a good team, camping just one survivor in the beginning of the match is not going to help you because you're just going to end up losing the match. But anyway, I digress. It says, if the survivor that was last hooked is sacrificed or killed, generators cannot be regressed or blocked, which is interesting. Let me read that again. If the survivor that was last hooked is basically killed, generators cannot be. Oh, okay, cool, gotcha. And it says added the option to enable or disable these mechanics in custom matches. We've talked about that. And it says updated several survivor and killer perks to account for these changes. It says dev note. It's no secret that tunneling can be seen as an efficient way to play for killers, right? While this can be true, it's also true that the results of this can be frustrating for survivors. So you gotta look at it from both sides, right? Leading to the trials ending too quickly, or for some, while leaving others to fend for themselves in a match that is now much more difficult. Likely we're not gonna win if we just having people just dying immediately and killers to feel like they got a tunnel. And it says the intention here is both roles to feel the benefits incentivized that come from spreading hook state. On the one hand, survivors have better opportunities to evade and reset after on hooks, while also limiting those tough situations where losing a survivor too quickly causes things to go south quickly and snowball. On the other hand, killers are able to apply more map pressure to push back against efficient teams, covering ground post-hook and strengthening gen regression. So I think that's just pretty good. I think that the devs at least looking at it from both sides and trying to balance it, though it is very hard to balance DBD. It will forever be that it's the asymmetrical horror game, right? All right, lastly, the elusive status effect, right? This is a new one that they just added. And mind you, this is all PTB. So this is all PTB. We're just going to see, things don't go 100% in from the PTB. We have to see those who can just see how those who test it. I wish I had PC to do PTB, but we just have to wait. And it says added a new status effect so this is what elusive status effect is. It says added a new status effect that silences grunts of pain and suppresses survivor aura, pools of blood, and scratch marks. It says dev note to start. We'll be using this new status effect as part of the tunneling reduction update, but to plan to integrate this into a relevant existing perks down the road to make this description more streamlined. Arguably, the easiest way to look at this is survivor version of undetectable, and that when it's active, you're in stealth mode. Overall, this is just my conclusion. I think that, and it took so long, but listen, I'm not a dev. You guys are not devs. Most of you guys aren't. Some of y'all might be. Listen, they're trying. They're trying. I don't play DBD as much because when I started playing back almost 5 years ago, so many changes have I've always mained solo queue. I've played with a couple people or a bunch of people sometimes, and I don't like playing with people because a lot of survivors. Y'all think killers are like dicks. Killers are nice people, but they can play dickish when they feel like either A, they have to win the game because that's just how their rules are, or B, they're just very frustrated. Not giving them an excuse for the second part, but just saying that's just how it is. Their role is naturally to kill. They're not your friends. Survivor mains, though, I will say can be very dickish. I've met so many survivors who are just very, very egotistical and think they're better than so many people. Think they're better than what they are, essentially. But I will say that trying to make a game where both sides are having fun, because that's what a game should be. It shouldn't be this sweat fest. We're not all comp, right? It shouldn't be a sweat fest. But to have a game where it's not a stall, it's not frustrating to play, and it's a grind. And I stopped playing this game because they just make killers boring. You got the Dark Lord, but he can hit you, but he's like a morphing flying pyramid head where he can hit you regardless no matter what. Xenomorph, it just get boring. And then you're also not, I don't play with people. I don't have time to play as much as I used to, and I got 8,000 hours. But for them to add this, and they're trying to make it fun after years of killers just reigning, for at least 3 years after patch 6.1.0, I am not mad at this change. I think we should all come to terms with it. We should embrace some changes. And let's be glad that this game been around for almost 10 years and they're still trying and garnishing so many people to play this game. We don't want to run people away from this game. That's just my opinion. So I think that I do think that people still need to play both sides to understand both sides a bit. Maybe you'll start to understand why certain players' roles are the way they are, because it's not coming from a place of hate. It's just coming from a place of necessity. It's just how it is. So that's just my thoughts on that. Appreciate you guys listening. Please let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Is this a W change? Is this an L change? And let me know if you guys read any of the updated to Killer and Meyer. I know they're supposed to be buffing Meyer so he could be swinging faster or something with a lunge, and he's supposed to be stronger, clown, etc. So yeah, I really don't know, but yeah, definitely read that up and let me know what you guys think in the comments. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Stay safe out here. If nothing else, peace.